What fun last night. So, by the way, we will have more watch parties for round 2 at Dave & Buster's in Hollywood. We just don't know what the schedule is just yet. We will find out, and then we'll share it with everybody and figure out when we're going to be there rooting and hooting and hollering. Josh Appel is the public address announcer for the Miami Marlins at Lone Depot Park, and he's also an NFL play-by-play broadcaster for Sports USA. And we always have him on during Panthers season. He's a Panthers fan for as long as he's been alive. And Josh Appel, even though he was at Lone Depot Park last night, I am certain was watching the Panthers game. So let me ask you this, Josh. I want to start with the next round. Panthers beat the Lightning. Gentleman's sweep. It's going to be either Boston or Toronto. Looks like Boston, but you never know. Probably looked like Boston last season, and then you didn't know. So who would you rather face? And it might be this might be two separate questions, because there might be emotionally who you'd rather face, but there might be a team that maybe you match up against better. But who would you like to face in the second round?
Toronto. It's going to be Boston, though. I'd like to face Toronto. They don't have as good a goaltending. They don't have as good defensive depth. After their top 6 with Matthews, Marner, Nylander, like those guys aren't proven playoff performers yet. That's the team I want to see. The Panthers handled them last year in the second round, but I think that the Panthers match up great with everybody that they'll potentially see on the road to the Cup. What a cathartic win in that series over Tampa Bay. It really was. You were just playing the song to open the segment. I think the best punctuation on that serenading by the fans last night was the empty net goal right at the end of it. So you go right from the Goldie was perfect on the Panthers broadcast during that sequence. Laid out, let the crowd tell the story, and then called the goal. It was phenomenal. My wife was at the game last night. She had a blast. Seemed like the crowd. It's a hockey town. I'll tell you what. It's a hockey town. It's a hockey town.
Josh, I don't know if it'd be cool or exhausting to run through the monsters. So you run through the Lightning, then you run through the Bruins, then you know, if it's Carolina, now you got to beat, like you go and whoop the ass of everybody good and go on back to the final. Like, I don't know if it'd be too exhausting to do that, but wouldn't that be like the dominance that you want to have in a hockey team?
That's kind of where I'm with. Like, wouldn't it be fun to go up against Boston again?
Of course. And that's where they're heading. But here's the thing. They got to go after all those monsters. No, Crowder. The Panthers are the monsters, okay? The Panthers are the monsters. They don't want to
get used to that. Yeah, that's a changing of the guard.
They don't want to see Kevin Stenlund dangling in the offensive zone. They don't want to see Nico Mikkola banging bodies up against the boards. And they certainly don't want to see Bob making acrobatic saves and keeping the puck out of the net. Brick wall Bob.
But are we that much better? Like, I know we like to talk trash down here, but we talked to Moeller, we talked to Plague, we talked to a number of people, we talked to you a number of times. And it's like, we're like, yeah, you know, we're a very talented team. Can we really have the swag of y'all don't want to get on the ice with us?
I think that's where they're at for sure. I don't think that they're like significantly better than everybody or anybody. I think that they are up to par, maybe even better than a lot of these teams. I think like when you get to talking about the Rangers and the Hurricanes and the Panthers and the Bruins, you're really splitting hairs. Like all 4 teams were excellent this year. And like, there's no, I think I mean, I'm biased obviously, but I think the Panthers are the best out of those 4 teams, probably Carolina right underneath, and then the Rangers and then Boston. But I mean, that's what we want, right? Like you want, as you guys said, like you want the satisfaction of beating the best teams on your way to facing in the or in the Stanley Cup final other incredible teams. Like Colorado is a wagon. Obviously, Edmonton, Dallas, and Vegas are going at it as well. They're the only series that is guaranteed a 6th game right now in the first round of the playoffs. There are a lot of really good teams, and the Panthers stack up well with all of them. And they play with that. Like last season's playoff run earned, I think, like this new level of confidence from this team. And I know that obviously experience helps with that. You go through it, you know what to expect when you go deeper in the playoffs. But like the team is better than last year, and they have more depth than they did last year, and they are getting this kind of goaltending out of Bobrovsky. Like, I'm sorry, like who's beating this team 4 times out of 7?
Is the Panthers team perfectly constructed?
I don't know if there is such a thing as a perfectly constructed team, but I think they are probably about as close to that as you'll find.
Where would you tweak it? That's I go through it in my head. Like, where would you tweak it?
I was talking with somebody last night. Sports USA had the national radio broadcast of the game, and I met up with our crew afterwards, and we were talking, and we were like, the Panthers' 5th line, the guys that they scratch, would be a better 4th line than what they were throwing out last season in the playoffs. They are so deep, and you got Josh Mahura as your 7th defenseman, and a couple other guys as well that can slide in and do a good job on your 3rd power play. Like the way that they have, or 3rd defensive pair, the way that they have, especially defensively, you have Forsling, who's all over the ice, and Ekblad's turned into a stay-at-home defenseman. They mesh with each other so well. You got Montour on the 2nd pair, who's all over the ice, super skilled, and Mikkola, a big body who's going to beat the hell out of you and score an empty net goal.
I was going to say, and score a goal.
Yeah, and then you've got, imagine the odds on that one, by the way, last night.
that had to be like, what, plus 11,000? Probably not even on player props for Nico Mikkola to score a goal.
And then you've got just solid veteran Dmitry Kulikov, and then Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who isn't the same type of player he was earlier in his career, but when you have him playing on a 3rd defensive pair role, it's perfect the way they have it set up, and they've all bought in to Paul Ball. They've perfected Paul Ball, and it's a joy to watch. It really is. And then we haven't even talked about Barkov and Tkachuk and Verhaeghe and the fact that they closed out this series without Sam Bennett. Like, I love this team, man. Like,
we can tell.
And then, but like, I'm also trying to like give you real analysis here, not like fan analysis. Like last night, they juggled up the lines, right? Paul Maurice said afterwards they juggled up the lines because he liked some matchups better when he could have Lundell, Luosterainen, and Reinhart together. So that became a line. And then you had Barkov, Tkachuk, and Verhaeghe become a line. And then your 3rd line now has Vladimir Tarasenko and Evan Rodriguez on it, with Kevin Stenlund, your normal 4th line center, centering the 3rd line. And he's dangling guys out here and setting up one-timers for Evan Rodriguez to ice the game away. It's the perfect team.
I was going to, in that line of thought, I was going to ask, does this team have this kind of success if Paul Maurice is not the coach? Because he was juggling lines last night, and I go, because I remember Andrew Brunette, we were like, well, that seems unfair. Wasn't he the coach when they won the President's Trophy? Like, is this team this successful if it's not Paul Maurice as the coach?
It's hard to say otherwise, honestly. Like Will Zito brought him in for this very reason, right? And a lot of people questioned the hire at the time. A lot of people questioned the hire, some folks on this show included, the first half of last season.
Yeah.
I love Bruno, man.
Look, Bruno's a good coach, but hey, look what happened to them the other night. They were up 3-1 with less than 3 minutes left against Vancouver. They gave up 2 goals late and lost a minute into overtime. And it's a lot of the same tendencies you saw with the Panthers when Brunette, like I had flashbacks to the President's Trophy sweep by the Lightning, Game 2 in Sunrise. I remember coming on the day after and giving a 15, 20-minute defensive Mackenzie Weegar. But that breakdown that cost them the game with 10 seconds left, it reminded me of that the other night when Nashville blew their game at home to Vancouver, who was playing their 3rd goalie. This team and Paul Maurice, he has them humming. It's such an underrated hiring, and I think people like wrote it off way too soon because it's a retread guy. He had a little bit of success in Winnipeg, yeah. And look, you just got to trust Will Weedo.
You can still keep trying that Will Weedo thing, huh?
Just not working. It's not hitting at any level.
Look, just like Lou, it's the next one. It's really going to catch on the next time.
I'm with Lou. We chant Lou as if Luongo was still in net. And so anytime It doesn't matter if it's Stolars. It doesn't matter if it's Bob, whoever it is. We chant Lou on any good save. I think that's going to pick up steam. Calling Bill Zito Will Weedo because he keeps putting up W's.
Agree to disagree.
If we switch coaches with the Lightning, what's his Cooper? Because everybody loves him to death too. So if Cooper and Paul switch, is this the same outcome?
I think so. I think while Maurice there's a lot of credit, like the system and the way that these guys play and the guys on the ice. Like at the end of the day, and Maurice says it's a lot. At the end of the day, like you can only do so much as a coach. Like you just match up guys and the guys go out there and play the system. John Cooper's a 2-time Stanley Cup champion. He's been there another couple times. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. A little whiny after the game last night, if I'm being honest. A little bit whiny.
I mean, he could have used the 2 goals that got taken down. I mean, what else?
Well, you know what? Then his players shouldn't have committed goaltender interference.
Okay.
And then he would have had
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying you're saying he's a little whiny as if there was nothing that precipitated that. There was.
It's a matchup of two. It was a matchup of 2 Hall of Fame coaches, I think. I mean, Paul Maurice has everything you want on a resume for a Hall of Fame coach except a Stanley Cup win. He's top 3 in wins and games coached in all those categories that you look for when it's time to get a coach into the Hall of Fame. So you're watching 2 Hall of Fame coaches match up, and I love the exchange they had. I love the handshake line after a hockey series is over. You see all the guys dapping up Anthony Duclair, exchanging hellos and pleasantries. I'm sure a lot of them miss each other. And then at the end, it's the 2 coaches, and you can see how much respect there is between Paul Maurice and John Cooper. And I thought that was really, really cool. To answer your question, Crowder, yes, because I think those are 2 very good head coaches, and the Panthers roster is just top to bottom better than Tampa's.
Who's the Panthers MVP in the series against Tampa?
Are we including Bob in this?
Yeah.
I'm going to say that. Wow, my first instinct was to go Bob, and then I was like, well, you know what? Barkov was so good, did a lot of things that was what I was getting to. Like Barkov did a lot of things that maybe don't show up on the stat sheet, but last night was 11 of 14 on faceoffs, scored the 2 goals, had an assist, was all over the place. He's the captain, and out of nowhere, an unbelievable celebration after the goal he scored. He's not a big celebration guy, and he gave an awesome one. Like, inject that into my veins. And then Matthew Tkachuk's just the tone setter for them. But Carter Verhaeghe, in every big game this team plays, he's scoring massive goals. And remember, last playoffs, I came on here and I said at whatever we call it now, FTX Arena. Is that what they're calling it? Kaseya Center?
FTX. Yeah, you got it.
Yeah, Kaseya Center. At the Kaseya Center, we're replacing the 23 that has Jordan up there with Verhaeghe.
Well, of course. He's the greatest 23 to ever play sports.
Absolutely. So, I don't know. That's a difficult question to answer because you can make a great case for 4 guys on this team. And we're very classy. Gentlemen.
We're gentlemen sweep.
Yeah, very classy. Mush people in the faces all game
long.
That.
Mm-hmm.
I love when they mush people in the face. Yeah, that's what I yell during. Is that good to yell during hockey games? Mush them in the face?
You yell whatever you want.
Okay. That's all I yelled at Dave and Buster's the other night. Mush them in the face.
Well,
do you think
I was going to say, you guys are 0-1. Like, the only game they lost in this series.
All right, settle down.
Was your Wardy.
All right, settle down, Will Weedo. Do you think Sergei Bobrovsky does end up winning the Vezina?
Come on. I don't think anybody's going to win the Vezina.
Because you got to earn the Vezina.
Gotta get it.
Josh Appel, bring us some Whopper Juniors. Let's get a Marlins dub tonight, all right?
I'll do my best. Just for
all right. Josh Appel, we'll take a break, and we'll come back with more Hochman and Crowder.